The promise of God is not supposed to be idolized. Many times you're in the promised land already, but you think you're in the waiting room. You're seeing only the promised land as the promise. You want the promise more than you want intimacy with Jesus. You want the promise more than appreciating the blessings that God's giving you. Many people's promised land is just to have a good night's sleep, and you're having a good night's sleep. It's just to have one pure-hearted good friend, and you have that. And so many people are missing what they already have, not grateful, longing for the promise and making it an idol. Because what they're really longing for in the promise is success, validation, money sometimes. So what does God do to get that idol out of the heart? He delays the victory. And the delaying becomes the refining fire that brings humility, that brings true death to self, death to ego. God has taught me that it's better to be content and excited for the promise, but not desperate for the promise. When we're desperate for the promise, it's usually having to do with, I want the promise. But remember, the promise is not about you. The promise is all for God's glory. When the promise comes, you're supposed to be rejoicing over what God is doing now, not what you get from it. Just because you're not seeing the victory right now doesn't mean it's not yours and it's coming. It's delayed for a purpose. He knows you need this amount of time of refining fire to not be idolizing the promise, for your heart to be refined into my character to be able to handle the promise.